Hey, welcome to today's video. This is Rick Chapo from DMCA so today we're looking at a foundational issue. There's all this discussion of the DMCA, DMCA this, DMCA that. Well, what does DMCA stand for? So the DMCA stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It is a federal law in the United States. It was enacted in 1998, October 1998. It was one of a number of different laws that were enacted to create safe harbors on the internet to allow businesses to function. While the internet is a huge part of our lives now, you might think back to 1998. Most people were still on dial-up modems. There was no Facebook, no YouTube. Google was just getting started. I think it was still called Backrub at that point. And so the federal government passed a number of different laws to try to create kind of a protected area where businesses and the internet could evolve and see what would happen. And so obviously it worked out pretty well. Things have taken on since then. Now the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, it's important to mention the full name because copyright is kind of the key word there. It applies to copyright situations. We, as a DMCA agent, we often receive complaints about trademarks. It is not the DMTA. It is the DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act. So it doesn't apply to trademarks. Is there an equivalent for trademarks? No, there isn't, which is kind of odd when you think about it, but such is life. So what does the DMCA do? Well, it gives you, it addresses a number of different copyright issues in the digital environment. Probably the most important is Section 512C, in which it gives online platforms, which are called internet service providers, immunity from copyright infringement claims based on content uploaded by users. So if a person comes to your, let's say you start a forum, a person comes to it and they post a image that they found from somewhere else, well, you are not going to be held liable for that if it constitutes copyright infringement. Only the user can be held liable. Now, there's a compliance process that you have to undertake, and that's kind of beyond the scope of this video. You can visit us at dmcaagentservice.com to read an article on the compliance effort, or go to our channel on YouTube, and we have videos there as well. But that's the basic idea. It is a foundational law of the internet in the United States. It also is under review. There are some considerations about whether this law should be changed, or at least there was before the apocalypse started. Coronavirus, yikes! So before the coronavirus became a big issue, there was some momentum in Congress to look at the DMCA and see if perhaps it should be limited in some ways. And the reason for that is, of course, when the law was enacted in 1998, the internet was in its infancy. And so companies needed protection. And the question is that still true today? I mean, if you look at a company like Facebook, who benefits massively from the DMCA, or YouTube, those companies are huge multi-billion, maybe even multi-trillion at this point, revenue companies. Do they really need help? And so that's a question that Congress was going to take up. I imagine they will again in the future, assuming we don't go full Mad Max at this point. But for now, we're probably all right on that. If you look at Europe, Europe has actually already swung away from a safe harbor provision. They have a new copyright directive over there, but that only applies in Europe. So if you're worried about traffic in Europe or the laws in Europe, you want to look at that. But the DMCA applies in the United States. And for now, at least, looks like it's pretty set. And so what does the DMCA stand for? Again, it's just an abbreviation for Digital Millennium Copyright Act. So if you have any questions or comments, post them below. I'll be happy to answer them. You can always visit us at dmcaagentservice.com if you need a DMCA agent, or you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them there as well. And thanks for watching. Have yourself a good one. Be safe.